Hi friends, let's take a look at Tezos. Tezos versus the dollar Oz, Tezos versus the Bitcoin Oz, and of course Tezos versus the Ethereum Bob Oz. And in yesterday's episode we talked about this. I did actually think it was in this one here I probably said the wrong thing where I said this could be like an Adam and Eve. In a sense, you know, you've got that double bottom type formation here against Ethereum, and we're pushed down past it. And I just feel like until such times as the Ethereum and Bitcoin prices themselves really establish themselves as getting, you know, resistance, flipped support, and can then, you know, properly trend in one direction or the other, then I'm hesitant to say that this is definitely going to continue to do what we've seen it doing so far, which is respecting these targets for us incredibly. Looking down here, when we came down towards this low here, moved back up towards the top side of it, you know, bang on, back down towards the lower side, resisted by the median line of it, back down towards the lower side again, pushed down past it, resisted by by this line now. Will we see us dropping down there to the next downward side target of 59, and perhaps ultimately, you know, looking down towards our previous lows here where this wick came in at 55 area or so on this one. So take a look out for that yourself. Little bit but anyway, called this an Adam and Eve. But of course, after I did that, I was thinking to myself, like, it occurred to me later on, I was thinking, wait, why did I say that? We've had a downward trend in the run onto it, and you know, you'd really be looking as this has been a reversal as opposed to a continuation pattern. There's probably a better idea to be kind of just summing this up with at the minute, and there probably are, in fact, in terms of just patterns, you can see that because this low has come in lower, if we were to form it as a local low, and you can see it's actually green on the histogram down below here in the MACD, compared to, say, this big red downward movement here. And in fact, that red downward movement there is a lot shallower than the previous low. So you got low, low, and low. And between those three, you're seeing bullish divergence. And maybe it's wise to look at this area just now, for instance, where we are, and say we're in a descending wedge. And that, of course, is a bullish pattern. If we were to break outside of this thing, we could be going up towards the top end of it, up there at 80 and at 0.08. And that would be when things start to get a bit tasty again in terms of looking at potential for an upside targets of not just 87 where the 382 is, but 97, then subsequently 0.01 where we have the 618 golden pocket begin at. Okay, so that's what probably should have said that in yesterday's episode. Anyway, it was like later on, I was thinking I'd filmed it, edited it. Then I don't watch myself back, you know, most of the time when I put out episodes. So it was about 4 hours later, I thought to myself, did I say that word? You know, just suddenly it was like, whoa, wait a minute, I said that. Why did I say that? So anyway, yeah, cool. Next one, covered that up. I feel good about that. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin parent and see how we're coming in here with these lows. Is it going to have the same divergence on it? No, it doesn't. That we see on the Ethereum parent. So the Bitcoin one obviously showing that bit of strength for Bitcoin, which Ethereum doesn't really quite have, as a result perhaps of the sloppy price action that Ethereum's had over the last couple of days, while Bitcoin itself has looked a little bit more positive. Now, that's a big question for us, and will we see that continue over the weekend and into next week or not? Watch the Bitcoin episode for a better idea about how to make an assessment on that one. But right now, I really am still looking at the same target, 24,000 up above our heads. That's got to be key for us. And movements down below this area at 22,000, obviously key again, where we could ultimately end up looking down from that down to 18,000 and 15,000 thereafter. Very stinky price action if that were to be the case. There's a couple other things that I would like to point out probably, such as this horizontal here. You know, it's you hope to not have to talk about these things, but here we are. So I'm going to put a red line in here for this one and say that if we drop down below this 0.02 area, then that's our new Alamo for us. This is where the shoulder was in this kind of head and shoulders idea here, where we then subsequently saw an inflection point just here on the 5th of February or so. And then the price action subsequently to that has stayed up above it. But if we drop down towards these areas, that would be where it gets sort of tasty town for sure on that one. But what's really going to be leading the story for us, what's really going to be doing it, is the dollar prices. So we've moved back over to Ethereum, Tezos. I can't believe I made that mistake. I feel so sad about it. I'm sorry. I know that we traditionally, as Rocky Outcrop opticians looking at Tezos, like to put our feet on the necks of Ethereum and, you know, rub poop in its face. So I'm sorry for having said that, got that word mixed up there. Looking at this low here, you know, we have continued to go down the way, and while at the same time it's continued to go down the way, what we see here is that RSI has struggled to really push past these lows. Now we're really at the cusp of this one, something to look out for over the weekend for yourselves. Will we see prices turn around here and put in a bullishly divergent low here or not? Currently, we're well positioned to do that. I'd want to see the prices retake 250, obviously, again. As you can see today, we've been up at 251 already, right here at our first profit taking line. And we're currently above as well, just as a reminder, at the $2.43 area. We're just here above it right now, where we have the 236 there on that one. So that's obviously key for us as well in terms of movements either side of this. So that's what it's going to be, our two positives and negatives. In fact, I'll just re-change this over here to make it a red line so you can see that maybe more majestically on the charts. We'll make that one yellow. Okay, we'll keep that as yellow, so we'll do a traffic light system on this one. And we'll make this one a nice green instead. Okay, so we've got the traffic lights here showing us the way for the price action. If we were to then try and move towards the top side, 265, very, 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 very positive. We'd expect to see profit taken in at that price there, because of course there's a 618 Fibonacci retracement zone in there as well. So of course look out for that golden pocket. And then the yellow line above our heads, is that going to operate as resistance, as it has done for the last wee while, following on from it previously to that being support? Will we see this flip one way or the other? And of course that price of that thing is 252. As you can see, 251 0.516 today being the highs. We really need to push above 2.52 though, really, and close up above it to say that we've turned things around. If we did that from right here, we'd be looking at bullish divergence, giving a nice setup perhaps for our movements towards the top side. Failure to do so, then we're looking at the next target down there where we actually had our wicks previously, and we have currently positioned the lower end of this pitchfork, really the lower warning line, and that is going to be key for us again. Movements down past that could see us moving down to chunks down to like 188. I'd watch out for that if that were the case, but we're right here at decision time making zone, putting in potentially, conceivably, bullish divergence between these two lows here on a significant time frame of the 24-hour, right here where we've got all this potential for us lying ahead. And the other two pairings, that the Bitcoin and Ethereum pairing we're looking at, are largely going to be determined by the price action of indeed Bitcoin and Ethereum rather than Tezos versus them overall. And you can see here then, if we go over to the HIT BTC chart, that we have parity between the prices, and we have had for a little while here. It's always interesting to point that out to folk, because this is, if you're subscribed to the channel, which I recommend that you should be, by the way, hit that button. A lot of value in all these episodes. Anyway, if you're subscribed, then you know all about this. We also have the same construction here in terms of divergence across the board with this oscillator, with these. Yeah, we've got the divergence here showing up on the 24-hour time frame as the prices have amortized between the two exchanges. This is a nice area for the prices to be able to hit that go button and move towards the top side again, allowing these things to diverge back out again if they want to. But at the minute, they're within parity. We've got a cent difference between these two exchanges here, for instance. So fine in terms of parity there, or that one does give you that nice option. Want to see HIT BTC prices move above 258. Going over to another exchange where maybe not so crazy, I want to see prices move up above 271. Really, to get more pleased about things. 282 really is where that previous Fibonacci was drawn in at. Yes, indeed. So here's it comes from the highs down to the lows here. 282 is a really important price point for us, and movements beyond that, I think, open up the opportunity for the really tasty moves towards the top side, such as 315 and 373 if we were to do that. So even just trading it from that point, using that to manage your risk and going up towards the 618, you're looking at a 36% movement towards the top side. Incredible trading opportunity if that were to operate, and that's talking about not even getting in from where we are now and moving towards the top side. So incredible. But of course, should we push on down past these lows and actually just get continuation on these oscillators down below, shirking off the possibility of bullish divergence and then sinking on down the way, then of course, regardless of what Bitcoin and Ethereum do overall, we could easily see this sink on further down to meet all of the lower targets on all of the things that we've talked about so far, including a recheck up with the price action at 188 to be happy and say, hey, we can still even still even, this is within what we've talked about realms of reality for us to face. Now, is all that on the cards? Well, let's not get too carried away with things, but let's just maybe manage the risk. I'm not a financial advisor, but at 222 you could do, and then if that was the case and you were looking at that as being a potential profit making zone here, you went long anywhere from these zones up to just even the 50%, you're looking at near enough 40% rise up in price. If you were to go up towards the 618, you're looking at a 50% rise in price. So there's no need to be greedy. I'd be happy enough to even just take profit there at a nice 16.5% rise up to where the 236 is, and not really have done much at all in terms of breaking the structure of this downward movement. I want to see us recapture the rising wedge area, for instance. I want to see us going back up above the 786 and the 236 and all that sort of stuff. Plenty of opportunity it would exist in around all this area, offering up a really nice trading opportunities, as we've had really nice trading opportunities to the downside over the last month. So let's see how this goes over the weekend. And I kind of laid out it all for us, and I think quite detailed levels of detail. Okay, so if you want to take part in the Bitcoin giveaway, you just write Rocky Rock or something along those lines anyway, in a comment down below this or any of the videos that I've put out over the last week. So that's, because I do 4 videos a day, so that's 4 opportunities to enter. Plus, you could do it as many times as you like, really. And I'll be giving away 10 Satoshis for every view the channel gets. And how do we get more views on the channel to increase that price pot? Well, you share it with your friends, because there's a lot of value here. And there's very good reasons for people to want to subscribe, I think. And if you want to, you can join the Discord. Let people know as well that on Monday we'll be having a wee chat in the Discord at 12 GMT UTC times. So it's not GMT, it's actually, well, it's GMT, but it's not the current. Wait, what will it be? 11 UTC and 12 British Summer Time? I'm going to have to check in with people. I'm not actually sure what time the chat's happening at, or if indeed I'll be available to be on it, but just be aware that we've got sort of our experts in the making chatting with people in terms of just helping you get used to trading in the Discord on Monday. So that's a good chat to have if you want to come along and take part in that. That's cool. Okay. And yeah, thanks so much for everybody for tuning in today. Hope you got that value from the episode, and I'll see you in the next show on Monday, of course. And well, subscribe. Things to bear in mind as we tune out, then I suppose ADX very much strongly positioned negative here, but we have the opportunity to see turnarounds coming in. Could we see something along the lines of what we've seen back in the past, not too distant past, where we've seen bottoms coming in on these things? Could we have that bullishly divergent bottom here in the stochastics, bullishly divergent bottom and the most recent price action stochastics, things like that happening, while the MACD didn't actually display that bullishness, as we saw just in the 2 runs into it. Very looks like it's kind of scaring people in terms of the price action coming into it between this area and this area. Then lo and behold, it turns around. Could we see in the same sort of structure over here between this area and this area, and lo and behold, turn around, and therefore, on the terms of the grand scheme of things, continue to do what has actually been an upward trend really for the entire existence of its trading lifetime on this particular chart over here. So of course it's different on the BTC, where there's been differences, but it could we continue that trend that we've been in since February 2019? Yeah, we could. Okay, we could also go down a bit more. So we covered all that. See you next time.